Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nosa Capital coming to you on a rather cool morning from the Southern Hemisphere. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me if I sound a bit nasal. I have been nursing a cold for quite a while, and it's kind of persistent, but that's hardly surprising because we're in the middle of winter here. Anyway, a lot of stuff has been going on in the crypto markets. Immense amount of uncertainty. The Bitcoin prices have been sort of maintained a certain level, and if followed very closely, you will find that it has been areas of where the market makers have wanted to take out liquidity. So these are areas of liquidation. If you look at it very closely, that's where it has been. The prices have been going. Now, in some cases, you might find, excuse me. In some cases, you might find that the price either rises or falls to a certain level, and you know there's some liquidity or some levels of liquidation that the market makers can get to, and it doesn't instantly just sort of trades in another direction. So we can't really be sure. There was a time, I'm sure you remember, when I told you that I was trading the liquidation areas. That's, I think, maybe the market makers have gotten onto it or something. I'm not quite sure, but I think that they've figured it out and they're trying to make sure that we don't get that benefit. But anyway, I digress. It's rough and ready. It's time for rough and ready crypto analysis, and as always, we start with Bitcoin. Now, I've got the technicals. We've got a bullish pennant here on Bitcoin, and as we can see, if we drag that down to see, we're looking at the prices of about 147,431,000 as the price of Bitcoin. Now, with the amount of sales that has taken place, particularly with the buying by the institutions for their strategic reserves, one would have thought that at worst case scenario, at the worst, Bitcoin would be at 125, 130. But we see it sort of ambling between 105, 104, and 110 in recent weeks. So one is beginning to wonder what's going on here and why this ambling. We know that the institutions have been buying, they've done this over-the-counter things whereby mere mortals like you and I don't necessarily get to see those prices, but get to see those purchasing, and subsequently does not reflect in the overall price. But I guess that the minute Bitcoin exceeds about 112,000, I think the race is on. Will it go up? Definitely, there's no question about that. How soon, we don't know. But I don't think it's too far before it starts going, up. If you look at this chart here, as you can see, it's a bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4 all areas of demand, which is people are buying. I don't know whether, I hope so, I hope we do, but if you see the price of Bitcoin fall down to about 90-something thousand, I think that's going to be the buy. And I think after this particular period, if it falls to anything between 90, I think it's going to be between 93 and about 96. If it falls there, I think that's going to be one hell of a buying area. But after that, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the 100s and something. And even if it goes up to about 150, 160, which some people are already positing, I can assure you that if it falls, it's not going to fall below 100,000 after that. Maybe, who knows, maybe sometime in the future. Like my brother was saying the other day that people will say, oh, you bought Bitcoin at 100,000. Oh my God, aren't you lucky? So that's going to be very funny when people say that. But I won't be surprised if people end up saying that sometime in the future. Expect Bitcoin to go up. But we must ensure that it goes above 112 before we begin to see any major activity. Until that time, just be patient, keep your powder dry, and wait. Now, some have posited that the price could come up to about 112, come down into the 90s, the late 90s, and then take off. This is why you need to keep your powder dry. Don't rush into anything, and be patient. Just be patient. It will come to you. Let the trade come to you. That's what I'm going to say. Let the trade come to you. As for when we're going to get 147,000, not sure, but hopefully not in the distant future. Hopefully in the very near future. Okay, let's move on to Binance. Now, this is something that I've continued to do because of the fact that when you study when you look at the liquidation, levels, you tend to use things like CoinGlass, which use the Binance exchange as the standard of what we need to look at. So I thought, okay, we keep doing Binance. Now, excuse me, we've got two areas of demand which are overlapping, which is quite strong. Two areas of supply also overlapping, quite strong, and another area of supply which are quite large here, which means it's going to be quite difficult for the price to break through without any major price momentum. Price posited in the future based on the double bottom pattern that you can see here is at $782.76. I think one time we enjoyed over $800. Now, if it breaks through these areas here, it's quite possible it could go even higher, but that will be a while. Now, if you've bought your Binance at about 300, 200 or something, or maybe 100 and something, then you're sitting pretty. But much later buyers, they're not going to be so joyful about it. But we'll just have to wait and see how this goes. There's not really much to say about this particular coin. As I said, I only look at it because of the fact that the exchange gives us the information on the liquidation levels. Okay, let's move to Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, the news about Ethereum has been that there's a particular company, I don't remember the name of the company. They want to be the MicroStrategy of the Ethereum platform. I think we should look close. I think somewhere down the line we'll look a bit more closely at what is going on there. But anyway, we have Ethereum as always. So we've got two areas of demand which are quite small, an area of supply here, here, and here. Apart from this major area here of low volume, which means prices can go up and down very quickly, we see that if the current price breaks this area, which is if it breaks about 2,681, 2,680 or so, if it breaks that area, then getting to about getting to 3,200 is going to be quite simple. You might get there quite quickly, and there's nothing we want more than to see prices rise. Now, this inverted head and shoulders that we can see here posits that the price of Ethereum will be 4,367. Now, nobody's going to be complaining about that, and there are some that still believe that Ethereum could get there. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't, but let's be honest, Solana has been eating everybody's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, just about all the major metrics, from total value locked to highest number of transactions, and all recent developments within the crypto industry has all been on Solana. So we have to look closely at that. Nevertheless, Ethereum will still have a role. Now, how far that role will go, that's another story for another day. But I hope that we do have major price recoveries, and maybe if there's a major price recovery into the 4,000s, people will start taking their profits again. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Otherwise, the price is not too bad. I wouldn't say it's too bad. I mean, it was way better than what it was in April of this year, when the prices were down as low as 1,380. So we should always think about that. Okay, so next is Solana. Now, this is the one that everybody, if you noticed, most pundits can't even tell you what's going on here because we don't understand it. At worst case scenario, Solana should be at least $300 based on the activity and what's going on. But I'm not surprised that there's a suppression. Now, there's a guy on Twitter, Marty Party, a South African guy, who has been following the activities of the exchanges and the market makers on Bitcoin, especially on Bitcoin and Solana. So, and he has been banging the drums for years now about the manipulation. So I'm not surprised that the price is being suppressed. I would not be surprised at all. This particular platform, this particular cryptocurrency is just what's going on in this platform is just remarkable. And as I said, the worst case that this particular coin should be is about $300 minimum. I think its all-time high was about 294, if my memory says, yeah, 294, and that's way back in, was it 294? Let's have a look. Let's do this. No. Yeah, the highest was $295 was the highest. Let's go back to the daily. Okay, so 295 was the highest at one time. Current price now should be higher than that. The bullish pennant that we can see here has posted a price of 212. Even at 212, that wouldn't have been I think it would be a lot more acceptable than what it is now, which is just about $145. Anything under $200, ladies and gentlemen, if you can get your hands, or even lower than 150, try and stack up as much as you can. I suspect that this particular coin is just going to explode. Now remember, I've been telling you about some coins, about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. You remember on others. This one, I will continue to say it until I'm popping in the face. This is a cryptocurrency. You must have a position. Remember, the ETFs are coming through, and people are more excited about this. Now, I'm not going to bang the drums of ETFs. I would never own one. Let me just make it absolutely clear to everybody. I would never own an ETF. You want Solana, have your Solana, put it in your wallet, put it in self-custody. Thank you very much. But the interest in Solana is way more exciting than Ethereum. And I mean, people are looking forward to this. So don't be surprised. You wake up one morning to find that the price has more than doubled or even quadrupled. Do not be surprised. Again, anything under, not financial advice of course, but anything under $200, or the lower you can get it, the better. Stack up on your Solana and be ready. That's all that needs to be said. Okay, let's move on to SUI. We've got the falling wedge here, and SUI positing that the price should be about $4.99, almost $5. I think the highest it's been is about $5.37. I think that's the all-time high price. If you've bought at a much cheaper price, you won't be crying too much. And we've got one area of demand here, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 areas of supply. This area of supply here overlaps, which makes this area very, very strong. Volume profile not too bad. Excuse me. Now there's been a lot of hype about SUI, but someone did a video that put pitted SUI against Say, and that's on Invest Answers. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I think you should just watch it. Go to the Invest Answers channel, James's channel, and watch it. And I think you're going to be surprised. But I'm not going to say more than that. Just watch it. As I said, it's a comparative study of SUI and Say, so you should watch that. A good currency here, if you ask me, anything under, let's say, if you can get your crypto at about anything under about $2.50, $2.20 will be very good, or maybe even $2. But I don't know when they're going to get under $2 now. But anything under $2.50 would be fantastic. Some might say maybe anything under $3 might even be not necessarily a bad idea. But I would say $2.50. Personally, that's what I would say. So, strong currency for the future. Get it while it's cheap. I suspect that sometime in the future that things will take off and the price will really take off. Currently, there's nothing stopping the price getting to something around the lines of $3.37 at this rate. But we shall have to wait and see. Anyway. Okay, so now we move to our meme coins. Now, Moodeng, remember what I said about Moodeng many years ago? I told you that, just a minute, let's put these on, and then we can put back our falling wedge, I beg your pardon, and then there we go. Okay, the falling wedge is there. The one we want is this one here, and it posits the highest about 26 cents. Now recently a couple of friends of mine took a gamble on this, and I said this is the time, this was where you were supposed to get in. If you remember, I kept banging the drum. I said this is the area here, buy somewhere here and sell at some of your areas of supply. This is where you would have made the money. Now until there's a major drop here, maybe if it drops to about 13 or 14 cents and then you wait for another takeoff, fine. There was a short area here of making some money. Particularly if you looked at this on the 4-hour chart. If we quickly go down to the 4-hour chart, there was an area of supply which, if it had broken through, I think it's gone much smaller. It's not there, but this area here, I said if it broke over from 17 to 18, it was a quick buy between 18 and about 24, and then you're out of the market. Now it went up to, oh, it actually hit 24. Yeah. So I said, yeah, I think it's 24, 25. I remember saying it, that was 2 nights ago, and it actually hit that spot and then came back down immediately. So Moodeng, I think if you're going to speculate, I think you should be patient. Wait for Moodeng to come back to this area here, which is at about, let's see, that's about what, about 12 cents. Then that's another opportunity. Then you have another crack at actually making some quick money. But until that time, I would say be patient. For those of you that got in at this area here, which I had been banging the drums about, and I'm sure you got a big smile on your faces. Okay, so let's go down to WIF really quickly. Now WIF, it's been a massive fall. I told you to get in here around this area, from about this area along this area is here. This was the areas I told you, and I kept banging that drum. If you remember, the first target, which is about 81 cents, it hit that target. We've now got a flying, I beg your pardon, if I don't know why I keep calling it flying, it's a falling wedge. I don't know what's wrong with it today. A falling wedge, and the new target is now $1.38. So could it hit there? Yes, we've got 1, 2, 3 areas of supply, but they're not, I don't think they're too strong. I think with enough volume momentum we can break through and hit those targets. Now if we break through here, this area of supply here, and you break, which is between, this area is between 174 and 199. If we break that 199, look at the volume profile, look at how light it is. Now all the activity is down here, as you can see, and this is our point of control. Remember I talked about breaking the point of control in the past, which we did. If we break through here, we can quite easily, with just a bit of good momentum, can break it. If we break that $2 section there, God knows where it could end. Don't be surprised if we go back to all-time highs of over $4. Do not be surprised. Look at the volume profile, very light. And if the prices, remember what I said about areas of low volume here like this on the volume profile, that means that the prices can zoom up or down very, very quickly. So watch out for that. If you're going to get back into this for your speculative purposes, I would suggest you wait till about 75 cents. And again, no financial advice, of course. And then you get in and then see how you can make your profits in the areas of supply. That is if you are in, if you're speculating. If you're not and you've bought at a very much higher price, you're going to need a lot of patience. But do not be surprised if this makes a full recovery and goes back to the once all-time highs. Okay, finally we've got Pi. I think this is probably going to be the last one I do about Pi. I think Pi will not. If you notice, I said 60 cents way back, and if you had got in here, you could have made some profits here. Remember, I told you to get in around this area here. Now, with this here, with the price, we see that it's flirting with this. This is not the all-time low. This is what I would call the technical low. I call it that because the all-time low was here, and that was because that's when it started off. So in trading, now that you started trading, I consider this area the all-time. These areas here, the all-time lows. I can't see it coming back to these areas. It might just get somewhere close, but it's going to go back up. expect it to be back to 60 cents in the next couple of days. Once it goes over this the point of control, which is at about 62, I expect it to go beyond that. Our area of supply here is very weak. Enough volume momentum can break through, and don't be surprised if we hit about something like $1.07, $1.06, $1.05. Do not be surprised if we hit that area there, because I think that's where this thing is going to go. Now, what they do with Pi, I don't know what the management, I'm not quite sure what they are up to, and I'll be honest, I've not followed it as closely. I'm just looking at the charts. The only way is up for this particular cryptocurrency. As a speculator, this is another good opportunity to buy at this area, sell at some areas of supply should you want to, make some good money and move on to something more profitable. Remember, always move to areas of profit and always buy quality. Anyway, the crypto markets, there's going to be a lot of excitement. Good, bad, or ugly. It's all going to be very exciting for us at the moment within this industry. I don't see it otherwise. I suspect that geopolitical and geoeconomic situations will have an impact on what direction the cryptocurrencies eventually take. I'm a full crypto man. I believe in crypto, but I will say this to you. Protect yourself, as they say in the ring, protect yourself at all times. That means, just as you have crypto, I would suggest you have some gold, you should have some silver, you've got your guns, you've got food, and always have some cash. Because if, for those who've been in disaster areas, when nothing works, you can't even withdraw money from the cash points. Always remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, that's me. So keep your eyes and ears open and your trading sharp. Have a good one. Bye.